I am fearless. I am a member of the original Special Forces, a Roman centurion, the most elite fighters in the entire Roman Empire, which in turn means the most elite fighters in the entire known world. We're fearless, highly trained, incredibly courageous, and unbelievably smart. Disciplined warriors. Fearless, disciplined warriors. I've given disciplinary lashes and taken a few myself, and I've never been afraid of anything. Until now.
The future of Christianity was impacted when Peter was instructed to go to Cornelius and share the message of Jesus with him. Why did God choose Cornelius as the first non-Jew to be taught by Peter? Among other reasons, it was the generosity Cornelius showed to those in need.
I'm the centurion in command of the Italian regiment in Caesarea. Cornelius is my name. Caesarea is the hub for business between Egypt, Rome, and Asia, because it's the only deep-water port on the east side of the Mediterranean Sea. King Herod created this artificial port when his engineers discovered a way to set cement underwater. Once it was built, this became the most important city in the lower Mediterranean Sea. Caesarea is critical to the trade and well-being of the Roman Empire. Being sent to Caesarea speaks to the credibility and reputation I have for keeping things peaceful and secure. The Roman Empire is at peace with most of our bordering countries, and we've eliminated all pirates on the Mediterranean. And the main source of trouble? The Jews. Caesarea is on the coast of Israel. A large part of our population in Caesarea is Jewish. Jerusalem, the capital of Israel, is only 75 miles away. The Jews in Israel have a well-deserved reputation for being difficult. Some clashes come because of economics, taxes, and regulations the Romans impose. Suffice to say, they aren't fond of them. I mean, who would be? But some of the clashes are due to religion. 8 years ago, I came to Caesarea. I was used to brute force, swords, blood, and death. But conquering the Jews required a new strategy. I learned all about their religion. That way I could be proactive in living in peace with them. I requested their finest scholars to teach me everything they could. I spent hours listening to their scriptures every day. I learned of creation, Abraham, Moses, the prophets. My subordinates and bodyguards sat around me as I studied. Slowly, interestingly, all of us became God-fearers, non-Jews who believe in the God of the Jews and worship him as best they can. God-fearers cannot enter the synagogues of the Jews or participate in many of their religious rites, but we can give to the poor and pray to God. Odd that we would become God-fearers so quickly. It actually makes sense. Let me unpack it. None of us have ever really believed in the Roman gods. Look, they're just cheap imitations of the old Greek gods, really. Roman gods have only been used to keep our culture together as we try to stay prosperous. Nobody believes they really care about us, let alone even exist. Gods as tradition is probably a more accurate way to think of it. Actually, it was the structure of Roman society that caused me to become a God-fearer. At the top of Roman society are rich and powerful people. Below them are the workers and small business owners. The rich and powerful people act as patrons. In our culture, patrons give gifts and favors to the people below them. They take care of them as if they are family. In return, the people receiving the gifts and favors act in their best interests, or in the interests of their patrons, by voting for them, working for them, saying nice things about them. And even by caring for others who are under the care of their patron. When you accept someone as your patron, you become his. And we even refer to people as Marcus's man, or this man belongs to Marcus. In the patronage system, though, there are no free gifts. Gifts definitely have strings attached. And one of those strings is obedience. If a patron requests you to do something, you do it. Or risk losing your patron, which in turn risks losing your livelihood, your social circle, your retirement plan, your very existence. One of the biggest sins in our system is ungratefulness to your patron. Being ungrateful demeans the value of your patron. It ridicules him. It's a dangerous risk to be ungrateful. You will lose your patron, and without a patron, this brings me to, I've never been afraid of anything until now. I'm about to retire from the army. The plan is to move back to Rome. Fleeting fear about the future for me and my family crosses my mind. I manage to bat it away, remind myself of my career, my stature. But what happens when I lose all my power? The fear creeps in this time. What will happen to me if I can't find a powerful person who will agree to be my patron? I'll be unable to provide for my family. The fear, it overtakes me. I will be powerless. All the training, all the promotions, all the experience I've amassed washes away. It counts as nothing. I'm drowning in fear. Fearless to fearful. My power so fragile. I just never realized it. I spent a lot of time listening to the Jewish teachers in Caesarea, and it struck me. God is the ultimate patron, powerful beyond compare, wants to bestow his protection and gifts on those who belong to him. Best of all, he loves those who belong to him, wants the best for them. I have a patron. It's God. And just like a patron, all he asks of his followers in return is to obey him and treat him with the respect he deserves. It seems so simple to me. The Jewish religion was a form of the Roman patronage system. To have God as my generous patron, to obey him, worship him, and be grateful to him, what more could I ask for? I was a bit sad that I couldn't be one of God's favored people, like the Jews. God-fearers could not participate in the Jewish sacrifices, so we made it a point to obey by being generous to the poor. We have a large sector of poor people in Caesarea. In fact, my men and I acquired quite a reputation for how generous we were to the poor. But that's beside the point. All of my fear vanishes. Just vanishes. I am a God-fearer with the one true God as my patron. This isn't the end of my story, though. I will have an encounter that will be recorded in the book of Acts. Changes history forever. I was praying. An angel appeared to me in a vision. He instructed me to send for Simon Peter, who was apparently staying in the town of Joppa, about 40 miles away, according to the angel. I didn't know who this Simon Peter was, but I immediately dispatched 2 servants and a soldier to track him down and bring him to me. A few days later, my servants, several others, and Simon Peter arrived at my house. Well, I gathered my relatives and friends to attend this meeting. Peter entered the house, saw the crowd, and pointed out the obvious. Jews like him were not to associate with non-Jews like us. We all knew this. It was a big deal, a really big deal to the Jews. We were considered unclean. Things were about to get awkward when Simon Peter grinned from ear to ear God has shown me that I should not treat anybody as unclean or impure. The whole world changes. For Jews, non-Jews, and God-fearers. In a moment, from that point on, all followers of God are to associate as a family of God. This is truly unbelievable to us, and none of it is wasted on me. Because beyond the Jews and non-Jews not associating part, there's the elephant in the room. I'm a Roman centurion, a symbol of occupation and power the Jews are not at all fond of. Peter goes on. He tells me about Jesus, forgiveness of sins, and how to follow God more closely. God is an even better patron than I can imagine. He was willing to sacrifice his own son, Jesus, so that anyone can have eternal life. Anyone. Through his grace, we are saved from death. All we have to do is accept his patronage and gifts and be grateful and obedient. Don't have to worry about God accepting us. He does everything he can for us to be part of his people, part of his church, part of the family of God.